We're back in Antioch on our journey through Acts, and some visiting preachers have turned up to the church there, and they've disturbed them by telling them that all they need to do to be Christians, if they're Gentiles, is to be circumcised and keep the Jewish law. Not a great way for reaching men with the gospel, probably. But this was very disturbing, and so they sent Paul and Barnabas up to Jerusalem to see the church there, to see what they thought about this. And the key issue was that these people were saying that we're accepted by God because of what we do, not because of what Jesus has done. The gospel comes to us through faith, not by works. I wonder whether that is something we have really grasped. It's very easy to slip away from trusting in Christ to trusting in what you do. Is it your busyness that makes you into a Christian? Is it your faithful belief in the gospel and the doctrines? Is it reading the Bible? Is it serving God in different ways? None of those things is what Jesus did that makes us have salvation and know God. Second thing, the gospel had to change the Gentiles, even though they didn't keep the law in the same way as the Jews expected. And the question for us is, has the gospel changed us? And is the gospel changing us? Are we just fixed, stuck where we were? Or are we becoming different people? Are we being transformed into the likeness of Jesus? But the third thing is that God welcomed people who were different to the Jews. He welcomed Gentile Christians. And there's a challenge for us in our church as well. What about the people who are not like us? Do they feel comfortable when they come into our church? Whatever it is that's different. Do they feel comfortable, or do they feel we don't fit here? We're not like these people. That's a challenge for us. If God welcomes people, do we welcome them? And the last thing is, what do we expect of people when they become a Christian? How do we expect them to change? What do we expect them to do? The Jewish Christians were putting a burden on people of saying, you've got to do this as well. The burden was actually something they'd not been able to carry themselves anyway. But the question for us is, what do we expect of people when they become Christians? Do we have wrong expectations that put a burden on them? Or do we bring them into the freedom of the gospel that comes through Jesus?